So, namaskaram, everybody. Absolutely delighted to have you all attend this discourse on Shaivite Tamil scriptures, going to be presented by Miss Lavanya Arul. Lavanya, I'm absolutely honored to have her here. She comes from Chennai, a place I love myself and my heart is, where she studied at the University of Madras and then Loyola colleges, two very prestigious colleges. And then she went on to do her project management from Adelaide University in Australia. She is an ardent learner. She is, I think this is, if you look at her LinkedIn profile and see how many things she's done, you will find more education than anybody else I know of all the 600-700 people that I know. She is very well recognized. She's very well felicitated in her company, in her field. She's a facilitator, she's a coach, she's a trainer. And with she looks so young, but she still has 20 years of experience in multiple countries, including Asia, China, Middle East, and Europe. She's worked for global companies and she has provided fantastic IT support to them. She, in addition to her professional achievements, what makes Lavanyaji amazing is that she is an ardent Shaivite. She's been an ardent Shaivite for the last few years, or she has become even more ardent in the last few years, I should say. She lives in Singapore with her husband and one daughter who is in the medical field. Lavanyaji will tell us more about how she was inspired to learn about Thirumurai, and why she has now completed her master's in Tamil for the purposes of learning Thirumurai. She learned Tamil grammar just to understand Thirumurai deeper. She's learning to sing Thirumurai from Dr. G.P. Nalasivam. She's received the Avai Award this year. She's been translating some of the Siddhanta texts in English for everyone to easily understand and appreciate the concept of Thirumurai. Without further delay, Lavanyaji, namaskaram, and International Hindu University respects you and welcomes you. All yours.
சிற்றம்பலம் தென்னாடுடைய சிவனே போற்றி எந்நாட்டவர்க்கும் இறைவா போற்றி அண்ணாமலையம் அண்ணா போற்றி கண்ணாரமுதக் கடலே போற்றி சிவசிவ திருச்சிற்றம்பலம். I would really like to thank International Hindu University and our Swamiji for giving this wonderful opportunity to talk about the holy text of Saiva Siddhantam. As before we started, we were talking about one is a grammar and the other one is a literature. We can't really split these two. The grammar is the Siddhantam, and when you talk about the literature, that is basically our Thirumurai. So the topic that is given to me or was bestowed on me is Saiva Siddhantam plus Thirumurai, but I'm just going to focus on the Thirumurai. I thank one and all for attending this and being part of this beautiful journey, because Saivam is a journey. It is not just going for discourses or whatever. It is a journey, lovely journey. Of course, when you talk about Thirumurai, it's an ocean. Honestly, it's a humongous effort that you have given to me that, we have to cover everything in 1 hour. I'm going to try my best. It is something like this because we just completed Deepavali. So we know this, whenever we go to a sweet stall, we just have a taster. So take this 1 hour as a taster before we start with this. I'll just start with my personal experience because looking at my professional qualifications, you may have had a question, what is she doing in Saivam and what is she doing in Thirumurai? So I just want to justify for that. As you see from my profession, I'm totally not into anything relating to Tamil or anything relating to Saivam. Everything was totally different few years back. And one of the day, I was honest, to be very honest, I was almost like an atheist, I have to say. If I work, I'm going to eat. There is nothing like God. This was my concept few years back. And then he's like my brother in Singapore. He invited me to a temple. I said, I just denied in the first place, but then he said, you know what, today there's a good feast over there. You will never eat this kind of a food, so better you join me. I joined him only for the food, honestly. And when I went there, he was singing a song. I was asking him, what is this song all about? He said, whenever you're hungry, read this song. It is called as Thirumurai. Wherever you are, you will get food. I just brushed it off. I had a good feast. I came back home. Of course, due to my profession, I had to travel a lot. So because of that, I had to, I'm not sure how many of you have been to Brunei. I was in Brunei for one of the project. And if you have been to Brunei, you will know there is absolutely no public transport. There is nothing called as nightlife. They shut down at 6:30. After 6:30, not even a single restaurant will be open. Even the hotel restaurants will be closed. And to make it worse, I was there during the puasa time, which is the fasting time. And literally, I had nothing. And because of my project, I could not buy any dinner for me. So I was thinking, okay, today is going to be like, I'm just going to have my fasting. I have no options. So I just went back to my hotel room. Suddenly, I remembered this particular song. I did not have full trust, but I just thought, okay, let me try. And I read that song. Unimaginably, within 1 hour, the hotel receptionist came up and she said, Madam, I saw you coming back without any food. I'm not sure whether you bought anything or you forgot, and I know there is nothing going to be available. I have some breads. If you want, you can try it out. Literally, I bursted out in tears. That was the life-changing moment which made me start believing in Thirumurais. What I'm going to talk about here absolutely is not stories. It's not mythology. It is none other than personal experience which I am facing even today, even at this single minute, even at this moment. So the task that is tasked on me is Thirumurai. What do you mean by Thirumurai? Thiru means holy, Murai means ordered or a set orderly approach. That is what is Thirumurai. When we talk about Thirumurai, we have to go back to the history of it. The history dates back to Chola Empire, almost like 900 AD, I would say, almost 900 AD. There was a very famous king called as Rajaraja Cholan. Most of us know his temple, which is called as Tanjore Big Temple, a must-visit temple though. His sister, who was more like his guru or mother or even as a guide. So her name was Kundavai Pratiyar. Rajaraja Cholan and Kundavai, both of them went to Thiruvarur temple. Magnificent temple, not to be missed temple. The size of the temple, the holy pond, as well as the land, everything accumulates to almost 98 acres in total. So you can imagine what is going to be the size of the temple, yeah? There was a young boy making garlands for the Lord over there, Lord Shiva, obviously. So he was making some garlands. And while he was, doing in that particular process, he was singing something. The so-called something was so mesmerizing that the queen stopped there. She got so curious to know what was that. That is the time they stopped and they were asking the boy, and the boy said it is called as Thirumurai, and he knows only a few compared to his dad. That started the journey of Thirumurai. Rajaraja Cholan immediately started searching across the entire Tamil Nadu for this holy text, holy hymns, which is sung on Lord Shiva, called as Thirumurai. Later, he came to know the holy Thirumurais have been locked in Chidambaram temple. So he was a ruling king at that point in time, such a powerful king. He went all the way to Chidambaram and he was asking the priest to open the room. The priest simply denied access for the king. Can you imagine? The king is coming and asking to open the room, whereas these priests are like, sorry, cannot. And the reason they gave was very, very logical. They said, 3 saints who are Trinyana Sambandar, Thirunavukarasar, and Nambi Arurar had locked the rooms themselves, and no one else is authorized to open the doors until 3 of them are coming together. One contradicting fact over here that we have to look up for is the former two, as in Trinyana Sambandar and Thirunavukarasar, belongs to almost like 6th century, the 6th to 7th century, whereas Nambi Arurar is 100 years later than them. How could all three of them would have been in the same time and locked the room? I'm leaving that anyways, because let's leave that. But the crux is this: we got the Thirumurai, which was locked in the room. Now the question in front of the king is, how are we going to recover this? When the rooms were not, I mean, when it was denied access, our king did not have an option. Rather, he had to do something very interesting. What he did was he made three statues, Thirunyana Sambandar, Thirunavukarasar, and Nambi Arurar, almost like 5 to 6 feet tall, with the same 5 metals which you use for making idols in a temple. So he made 5 of them, and he brought all 3 of them, and he consecrated before bringing. So he consecrated and he brought them to the temple. And then he told the priest, please open the doors now. We are having the 3 of them over here. The priest denied access and all whatever, but later then they didn't have an option. They abided by the king's rules. So they opened the door, and the entire room was full of termites. Can you imagine? It was written in palm leaves, and the palm leaves were all eaten by termites. Lucky not all. There's a record saying that 100,000 verses have been written by our 3 gurus, who's Thirunyana Sambandar, Thirunavukarasar, and Nambi Arurar. And can you guess what? Right now we have only 8,000 plus. That's it. So 1/8 of the verses is in our hands right now. What are we going to do with this right now? That's the biggest question that was put forth in front of the king. The king did not have an option. He had to bring everything out. So what he did was he just poured liters and liters and liters of gingerly oil onto it. And then he cleaned everything. And he brought the palm leaves, which was a little bit readable. He was in tears. He was crying in front of Lord Shiva. And he heard a divine voice saying that whatever is needed at this time is there, nothing to worry. That made him he got a little bit calm after that. And then he translated all these, and he started making this Thirumurai in a much more better manner, as in he started rewriting all those, and he made sure that it's going to stay there forever. Now, the biggest challenge that was put forth in front of him was how to categorize this. All these verses are there. We need to categorize that in some manner, right? Right now, if you look at it, documentation is very important. When we document it, we need to archive it properly. When we are archiving it, numbering system is very important, because we need to always be sure that we are able to take back. So which means categorization plays an important role. That is where he comes to know about a very, very important person in the history of Thirumurai called as Nambi Andar Nambi. The history of Nambi Andar Nambi is another interesting fact. He belongs to a Sivacharya family, only one son. His dad was a priest in a Ganpati temple. And this temple, this Ganpati is actually a Swayambhu, which is not man-made. And one day his dad wanted to go to a nearby village. So what he did was he said, he called his small little son, who was only like 4 or 5 years by then. He said, okay, you have seen me doing puja, right? Today what you're going to do is ask your mom, get all the modaks and go and do the puja, perform the puja on my behalf. This innocent little boy, you know, kids are always innocent, right? So what he did was he happily took all the modaks that his mom gave, and he went to the temple. He performed all the puja, like whatever his dad used to do, he does everything. And then the last ritual is he places all the food in front of Ganpati, and he says, okay, now I want you to eat. We have never seen an idol eating, right? I mean, God eating anyways. So this same thing happens. God is just there, not even moving a little bit. This young boy got into a feeling that he had made a mistake. He got into a guilty feeling. He thought that he made a mistake in his puja. So he thought Ganapati was angry on him. So he went and asked for apologies, and he cried. And then at the end of the day, he said, you see, if you don't eat this food, then it clearly shows that I'm at fault. Instead of going back, I'm going to bang my head on this particular place and I'm going to die. The first hit he gets on his head, immediately Ganapati is coming over there. That's the beauty of kids versus adults. When a boy, small little boy is calling, obviously God is going to be there, right? That's why we always keep saying that kids are always equal to God. The boy innocently says, okay, now you have come, right? You have to eat all the food. My mama has made all nice motaks for you. You have to complete everything. Ganapati has a very nice food that day. He ate all the motaks, and after that, this boy went back home with an empty vessel. Now the problem starts. No one is ready to believe this boy. He's going back home and he says, Amma, Lord Ganapati came and he ate everything. His mom and his dad, which century, which time did any god come and eat? Tell me the truth. Did you eat? I won't beat you. You tell me the truth, whether you ate. He says, no, Ganapati only came and he only ate. Then his dad wanted to test him. So he said, okay, you do one thing. Make another fresh motaks. We will all go. Now everyone goes to the temple. And then they're asking the boy, okay, now ask the Ganapati to come and have the food. He's again calling. Ganapati did not come. Again and again. And then he says, see, last time what I did, I'm going to do the same. I'm going to bang my head. You better come and have your food. Now Ganapati doesn't have a choice. So he immediately appears and he eats all the motaks. That is to show the world that he has the full support and the full blessings of Lord Ganapati. One of the most important deity that we are going to worship as part of Saivism and as part of Thirumurai is Lord Ganapati. If he was not there, we wouldn't have gotten the Thirumurai today. So our first worship should be for him. Okay, now coming back to the story. So Raja Chola is going to this particular boy. At that point in time, this boy's age is around 22, around there. So he goes there and he says, now you see, we have gotten all the palm leaves, which is already in a very damaged position. We need to categorize it. I don't know how to do it. You and your friend Ganapati, please sort it out. That's what he says. And the problem is now left in the hands of Lord Ganapati and as well as his friend, very close friend and disciple, who is Nambi Anda Nambi. Now Nambi Anda Nambi comes up with a logic to sequence this Thirumurai. The logic that he is using is based on who has written this Thirumurai, which is either Thiruñana Sambandar or Thirunavukarasar or Nambi Arurar. When he did that, Thiruñana Sambandar alone, when he combined everything, 4,169 verses were there. He was like, how are we going to bring everything together? Again, a sub-classification has to be coming in there. We all know, we have all worked in data centers and all these. When there's a data center wiring that goes in, we need to say which rack, which data center, which rack, which floor, which record track it goes and all these. The naming is very important. The same confusion comes in for our, probably the naming, the configuration management system would have been taken from our Thirumurai. That's what I usually wonder, you know. Sorry, that's my, anyways. So what happens is he starts subcategorizing it. The subcategories comes in as first Thirumurai, second Thirumurai, and third Thirumurai based on something called as pun, which is very, very important for Tamil. It talks about the Tamil culture in terms of the music. It is even before the Carnatic music, Sarigama Padanisa that we have. It dates back almost to before Christ. The history of pun goes before Christ. And they say that there were almost like 153 pun. As usual, we are very good in losing stuffs. So we have lost a lot. And right now we have only a very, very few, 20 plus pun only we have. So what our Nambi Anda Nambi did was he subcategorized it, and the subcategorization came in as pun. And that is where the first Thirumurai was sorted out with 136 padigam. What do we mean by padigam is basically verses. One verse will have 4 lines, and 4 lines put together, four such lines put together, around 10 or 11 songs put together for the same deity or for the same place or to the same temple, whatever, whichever is logical for that particular temple, they would use that, and that is called as a padigam. So one padigam usually will have around 10 or 11 or 12 verses. First Thirumurai came up all the way to 1469 verses, almost like 136 padigams together. Second Thirumurai, 1331 verses with 122 padigams. And the third Thirumurai came up to 25 padigams. Yeah, almost like 1347 verses. Now the second classification is the second author, which is Thirunavukarasar. He had sung more than almost like 499,000 verses. That's what is documented, but unfortunately we have received only a 3066 verses. You see how much we have lost. Anyways, so Thirunavukarasar's Thirumurai has been sequenced as the 4th, 5th and the 6th Thirumurai, and then comes Nambi Arurar. His original name is Nambi Arurar, but when he was in Kailash, when he was a servant for our Lord Shiva, his name was Sundarar. So many of us know him as Sundarar, but that was his previous birth. So by right, we shouldn't be calling someone with their previous birth, right? So I prefer to call him as Nambi Arurar. He has his padigams, we got only 100 padigams, and it is around 1026 verses. So this is how the first 7 Thirumurai has been categorized. And the 8th one, which is written by Manivasakar or Manika Vasakar, we know the meaning of Manikam, right? Manikam means ruby. So you can imagine it's the crystal of the crown. Yeah, so that's the way it is taken. Even today it is taken as one. It has got 51 padigam, and Tirukkovayar, which is written more like Lord Shiva, and it's written more from a platonic love kind of a feeling. That's how it is written. 400 verses are there. That is called as the 8th Thirumurai. And then comes the 9th Thirumurai, which is written by 9 authors. It's a very small book. Comparatively, it's a very, very small book. 29 padigams are there, 301 verses are there, and quite a lot of information is in this. This is also worth to read, worth to sing as well. Then the 10th Thirumurai comes in with 3047 verses. This is as good as mantra, tantra, yantra. You name it, you will have that in this particular 10th Thirumurai. Whenever someone wants to learn yoga, as of today, we are talking about Hatha Yoga. When you talk about Hatha Yoga, Tirumular Thirumandiram is the only source that we can take more information from there. 11th Thirumurai has about 1424 verses, and the beauty of 11th Thirumurai is it is like a combination of variety of verses. Even Lord Shiva has written a verse in that. Can you imagine? Lord Shiva also wants to be part of Thirumurai. So what he did was he wrote a letter and he inserted that as part of 11th Thirumurai. And then comes the 12th Thirumurai. As you guys were mentioning earlier, you were talking about the 63 Nayanmars. The 63 Nayanmars history, we shouldn't be saying that as story. It is history. It is 100% happened in this world. And if you look at it as of today, even today, we are able to see the remnants of it. We are able to see the all those, even today, if you visit those places, you're able to see the place, you're able to visualize the incident over there. Evidences are there, remnants are there. So it is not a myth, it is not a story. Okay, now these are the overview. This is basically an overview about the 12th Thirumurai. Now let's go into a little bit more deeper. When you talk about the Tamil text, any Tamil text, it has major 3 classifications. We call it as Iyal, Isai, Nadagam. Iyal means prose. So whenever we write something like in a prose format, that is called as Iyal. The next one is Isai, which is musical text, whichever is good for singing and reciting with a particular pattern, a rhythm, a cadence, that is called as Isai. And the third one is Nadagam, which we all are familiar with, which is called as the drama text. So nowadays we say, right, drama king and drama queen. That's basically our Nadagam. So Tamil is basically split in 3 sections, and all the text will be falling under one of this, or some can fall under all of these as well. If you look at the first seven Thirumurais, as in Thiruஞான Sambandar, Thirunavukarasar, and Nambi Arurar, along with that, the 9th Thirumurai, all these falls under the musical text category. When we talk about the 8th Thirumurai, 10th Thirumurai, and the 11th Thirumurai, this falls under the prose category. So it is usually we don't sing, but of course we can if you want to, but it has to be forced upon, because it's not a natural flow. So it's going to be a little bit challenging to sing, but yes, we do sing it as well. 12th Thirumurai falls under all the three. If you want to put up a drama, best text would be the 12th Thirumurai. You can sing, you can read it, or you can even take it as a dramatic one. So this is how it is organized. Now let's get into a little bit more details about the first 3 Thirumurais. I'll just go section by section, yeah. So first 3 Thirumurais, first, second, and the third Thirumurai, which is written by Thiruஞான Sambandar. His parents are Sivapada Irudayar and Bhagavati Ammal. His period is 7th century. He was born in Sirhari in a Vedic family. When he was around 3 years old, this is a very interesting incident that we are looking at, yeah. When he was around 3 years old, he went to a temple accompanied by his father, Sirgari temple itself, accompanied by his father. And in order to perform the morning rituals, what his dad did was, he made him a small little boy, right? So he made him sit on the shore of the pond, and dad went and took a dip in the water, and he was chanting all his mantra and all these. After a while, seeing that dad missing, the kid started crying. But you know what? Unlike us, what he did was, he did not look at the water and cry. Instead, he looked at the temple, you know, the Gopuram, right? The entrance, the entrance tower. He started looking at that and he said, Amma, Appa. Amma, Appa literally translated mom and dad, right? So he called mom and dad looking at the temple, not in the water. And then he started crying. Unable to see the divine kids in tears, Lord Shiva immediately ordered his consort to feed him with milk. His biological dad comes after all his rituals have completed. He comes out of the pond and he's shocked to see that his kid's face is with milk. Because usually milk is a little bit sensitive. We don't get milk from someone because when we are drinking someone else's milk, the characteristics will be changing. That is why in Hinduism especially, we always wanted to get cow's milk, pure cow's milk, not like what we are talking about right now, because the characteristics of the milk can change the DNA of a person itself. So he gets very angry. The dad gets very angry and he's ready to hit the kid, saying that, okay, tell me who fed you with the milk. Immediately, Thiruஞான Sambandar he's visualizing Ardhanarishwarar. Yeah, he's able to see Ardhanarishwarar and he's saying, Todudaiya Seviyan Vidai Eriyor Tuven Madisudi. If you look at this song, it starts as, I saw a person who comes with a earring which a lady will be wearing. Because Todu means, because you can see, right now, guys as well as ladies, they have different types of earrings. Todu means it is a type of an earring only ladies will be wearing. And he said, there's a person standing here. It's not there, here next to me. And this person is wearing a earring which a lady will be wearing. And it's a male. So which means, he says, I'm seeing Ardhanarishwarar here. It is not some, a male or a female. I'm able to see Ardhanarishwarar here. So he's visually able to see and show it to his dad, but unfortunately, his dad is not able to see that. This is how the spiritual journey of our Thiruஞான Sambandar is starting. If you talk about Thiruஞான Sambandar, we can talk for ages, not just 1 hour, ages. Such a lovely work. His work is, if you're talking about, today we are talking about leadership, we are talking about communication, we are talking about conflict management. We are talking about negotiation. You need to look at Thirunjana Sambandar's text. You will have so many examples for negotiation. The unfailing negotiation. Today we are talking about good cop, bad cop strategy and all these. You will be able to see all those over there. You will see conflict management, such a beautiful way of guide your team, empowering the team. You can see it over there. Whatever agile concepts we are talking about, whatever DevOps concepts we are talking about, 100% you will see in the first 3 Thirumurai. Since most of you are IT, I'm just trying to, sorry, I'm just getting deviated. Anyways, his spiritual journey starts here, and he had given, as we already said, almost like 4,169 verses is what we had been left out with. Interestingly, these are the leftovers after the termites having a scrumptious meal, honestly. Now, what is the benefit of reading this Thirumurai? The first very important benefit is it's an antidote for all our accumulated karma. Name the karma, whatever we have, we call it as prarabdham or sanchita or agamya, whatever it is, it's an antidote. Immediate washout, you will be able to see that. Are we in an emotional crisis? Are we in a financial crisis? Are we in a medical condition? Are we in a spiritual? We need to get into a spiritual path, but we have a very big roadblock over there or an impediment over there. We need to have a better family or a better family challenges are there. The best solution is the first 3 Thirumurais. You have solutions in this. We need money. No worries. There is a very beautiful Padigam. Just read that daily basis. You read that. By right, you should read it 11 days. But honestly, I have never completed 11 days. After reading it 2 or 3 days, I will have enough money that I'll stop. I mean, I'm just being honest over here. I know it's wrong, but still, yes. Medical condition, polio, arthritis, removing poison. Sometimes we, food poison, whatever. Female related issues, not able to walk, fracture. You have Padigams over there. I need spiritual growth. Forget about everything else. I need spiritual growth. Talking about Vibhuti, talking about Rudraksh, talking about mantra. Beautiful verses are there. Family challenge, right from before starting a family all the way to getting a family problem sorted out. You have a full, it's like a buffet system. I need to get a better spouse. Yes, we do have Padigam. I need to get a marriage without much of a difficulty. The marriage will happen. I need to get a kid with a good one. Yes, you will get conceiving will happen. I need to get a better delivery process. Yes, it will happen. After the delivery is done, we have to make sure the kids are growing up in a better manner. You have Padigam for that. Now the kid has to study well. You have Padigam for that. You need money to send your kids to school. You have Padigam for that. Parents' well-being. You have Padigam for that. So as of today, you don't need to go and ask for anyone for any help. You just sit in your own place. Think of Kari Pillayar, who is Thirunjana Sambandar. Just think of him. Read the Padigam. Immediately you will see the benefit. You will see the benefit. And you know what? We even have a solution for COVID situation. We even have that. Many of our, during the peak of COVID situation, we were chanting this regularly, and we could see a lot of benefit by this. And the Padigam goes this way. அவ்வினைக்கிழ்வினையாம் என்று சொல்லும் மகுதறிவீர் உய்வினை நாடாதிருப்பதும் தமக்கூனமன்றே கைவினை செய்தெம்பிரான் கழல் போற்றுதும் நாம் அடியோம் செய்வினை வந்தெமை தீண்ட பெறா திருநீலகண்டம். Such a powerful word. I'm just reading only a 4 lines. You can imagine it's like a whole bottle of tonic, but I'm just giving you only 1 drop of it. Yeah, if you like the taste, please take the entire bottle. So this is how the first 3 Thirumurais have been consolidated. It is also called as Thirukadai Kaappu. Kaappu literally translates as protective apparatus or protection. If you need protection, the first thing you need to do is Thirumurai. That is what we are talking about over here. Now, if you say, okay, I want to learn Tamil. Yeah, I want to learn the literature part of it. It's only about Shiva. It's only about all these kind of issues. I'm not having anything. I just need to have some kind of an, literature and the kick out of reading a good literature. Is there a possibility? Yes, you have it. How long does a palindrome that we have seen so far? The known palindrome, the longest palindrome that we have right now is a Swedish palindrome. That's the longest we have. But Thirunjana Sambandar has written a palindrome, 10 whole songs. Let me share that just as a sample for us. Give me just 1 minute, please. I know some of you don't understand English, Tamil, but all I want you guys to look at is, it is two different. I've just given a double backslash to say that it's a second line. But you look at it, you reverse it, you will see the same thing. 10 whole verses he has written, 11 rather, 11 verses he has written. So it starts as Yamama ni Yamama, Yari Kama Kanaka. You read it the other way, it will be exactly the same. Yamama ni Yamama, Kari Kama Kanaka. 10. In modern management, we always say, at least I do, because I'm a trainer by profession, as I was mentioning earlier, I do say left brain, right brain. And we always say, ladies, your left brain will be active. Guys, your right brain will be active. So when you're interpreting your question, this is how. All these have been proven to be wrong by our Thirunjana Sambandar. He has written another beautiful song which comes in this format. I'm just showing you a sample. Numbering. Number, we all know right brain. Literature, we know left brain. You look at the way how he has constructed 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1, all the way until 7, and then it will repeat again. In the form of a chariot. Can we imagine? We can't even imagine these kind of work. And we can see only in Thirunjana Sambandar's work. After his period, a couple of other authors have tried it, but if you want, I can share this with you guys later. If you guys are interested, I can probably share this slide. It's worth to have a look at it. We have to be proud. Honestly, we have to be proud of it. Same ways, he has written, as I was mentioning earlier, he has written some verses, which is called as Yamagam. You use a word and you just keep repeating it 4 times with different meanings. Meaning will have to change, but the word cannot change. And he has written tongue twisters. If you want to practice oo, whatever letter, and if you say, oh, I'm not able to pronounce ra, because if you look at certain customary options, ra is not there. If you look at Mandarin, they don't have ra, they have la. They only use it as la. But if you go to Finland, the languages, they have a rolling ra, ra. They call it as ra. It's not like a ra, like what we do now. But if you want to pronounce that, practice that, we do have practice padigams also. So if you want your kids to speak properly, because we have been talking about communication, whatever profession we are choosing, communication is absolutely important. Articulation skill is absolutely important. How do we encourage our articulation skills? How do we improve on it? Padigam is the best one. I'm not selling padigams over here. I'm just talking about what I have seen, what I have benefited. As I said, I'm purely sharing my experience over here. Right? So that is one thing I wanted to highlight. He has written even in the form of, the way how a cow passes urine, the urinating process of a cow. He has written a padigam in that format. Trust me, it took so much of a time for us to interpret that padigam on that particular pattern. Such a lovely one. Okay, as I said, if I keep talking about our Thirunjana Sambandar, I'll just go on and on. So I'll just skip to the next one. 4th to 6th Thirumurai was written by Thirunavukkarasar. He's also from the same period, 7th century. He had an elder sister, Tilagavadiyar. His parents are Pugalanar, Madiniyar. His work is called as Tevaram. Te plus Varam, which means Te is basically holy hymns, and Varam is written with pure bhakti. So when someone is writing verses with pure bhakti, that is called as Devaram. He was an he was originated in an ardent Saivite family, but due to some unforeseen circumstances, he changed his religion and he followed another religious practice until his age of 52. And then he returned back to Saivam. Until that time, he was practicing something else, but after his 52nd age, he was a pure Saivite. And even today, when you read his works, all his verses, his work, basically fourth to sixth Thirumurai, sometimes I have a feeling that someone is holding me and just slapping at my face saying that, what life are you leading? It's that kind of a punch, I would say. His sister was the one who prayed so hard to bring him back, and the entire credit should go to Tilagavadiyar. So because of her, he came back again, we have to say. He had written a lot more padigams, but unfortunately, as I said, we got only a 3066 verses, which is now combined into fourth, fifth, and the sixth Thirumurai. Such a lovely Thirumurai to sing as well as to hear. Even when you hear someone singing, right, you will just you will start nodding your head and you will start dancing within, even if you're physically not dancing, right, within something will happen. That's the beauty of his padigam. And when you talk about the benefit of reading his this particular Thirumurai, obviously it also acts as an antidote for all our accumulated karma. Obvious, that's a very obvious one, but it will give a lot more submissive feeling, a lot more. Today, whatever we have accomplished, I can be a president, I can be a prime minister, I can be whatever, but end of the day, nothing. So his verses will give us a feeling, oh yeah, there's nothing that I have here, nothing belongs to me. It gives the simplistic feeling for us, and it just hits our ego in a way that we will want to surrender. His particular padigam is a beautiful solution for all our karmic accumulations. If you want to pursue in your spiritual journey, his padigams will guide us. If we have poison, internal, external, in our tongue, wherever it is, it will help to remove fear of death. And how to worship, we call it as the Mukkarana Varibad, which is body, mind, and word. All three put together. So we always keep saying, right, we need to have the cleanliness, as in Vaku Shuddham and Mana Shuddham, and also your words must be very clear. That's the one we are talking about. The Shuddhi is what they are talking about, and the Shuddhi, it comes from all the three parts. Yeah. One, of course, there's a lot of holy hymns that you can talk from his verses. I'm just going to take a sample today. If someone is suffering from ulcer, or sometimes we do get into food poisoning, or some kind of even stomach cancer, if we have some kind of a stomach cancer, or even sometimes right now, like cervical cancers and all these are getting quite common. I'm not sure how in your place, but in Singapore, it's getting quite common. So in those cases, the best remedy could be reading the 10 verses that is in this particular padigam, which is called as கூற்றாயினவாறு விளக்ககிலி கொடுமை பல செய்தன நானறியேன் ஏற்றாய் அடிக்கே இரவும் பகலும் பிரியாது வணங்குவன் எப்பொழுதும் தோற்றாதென் வயிற்றின் அகம்படியே குடரோடு துடக்கி முடக்கியிட ஆற்றேன் அடியேன் அதிகை கெடில வீரட்டான துரை அம்மானே. Actually, these kind of songs must be sung in the correct pun, but we do have a lot of shortcuts in Thirumurai. They say, if you don't know to sing, no problem, you can read it. Now, if we say, oh, if I can't read it, how? No problem. If you can listen to someone sing, that's also okay. So there's a lot of flexibility in Thirumurai. So if you are really in need of a padigam and you don't know Tamil, you don't know how to read it, no worries. Just listen to the songs that is already, because right now if you look at it, there's a lot of songs that is available, especially if you go to YouTube. There's a lot. Even my guru has my Thirumurai Gurunadhar, who's as madam was introducing earlier, Dr. GP Nalasivam, his YouTube verses are also there. You can actually follow through his, just play that, listen to it, that should be sufficient. Now coming to the 7th Thirumurai. This is written by Nambi Arurar. His parents are Sadayanar and Isaignaniyar. He has an adopted father. He was adopted by a king, the local king, because he was so damn cute and he was so mesmerizing. So what happened was, the king, when he was passing by, he looked at the kid. He was so fascinated by this kid and he wanted to adopt. So he adopted. So our Nambi Arurar grew in a Vedic family, but at the same time, he grew up as a king also, as a basically like a a prince. So he has both lifestyles in his even in his padigams. You can see that kind of a style. His period is 9th century. When he was 16 years old, when during his wedding ceremony, Lord Shiva showed up and claimed that Nambi Arurar was his slave. And so he shouldn't be marrying the girl. There was a lot of argument and this, and actually if you read that argument, right, it will be like, you will have a fun-filled laughter. Honestly, it's such a nice portion of it. Eventually, Lord Shiva has to win, right? So similar to that, Lord Shiva wins. Obvious, right? I mean, nothing to say. So what happened is, even today, if you go to the place is called as Manam Tavirnda Pudur. It's still that Manam Tavirnda Puttur or Pudur, something with that name. The place is still there. And even in that place, even if they belong to that place, right, they don't conduct marriage ceremonies in that place. They go to the nearby place to conduct marriage ceremonies, because they know the marriage will stop halfway. And even today, that is in practice. So you can see all these are true. His life, I tell you, it's like 100% evenful, colorful life. Basically, he's my Gurunadhar, by the way. So Lord Shiva gave himself as a friendly behavior. So Lord Shiva and Nambi Arurar are known to be friends, and that is what the relationship is all about. So you can see when Lord Shiva is our friend, you know, obviously what kind of a life we will have, right? Exactly the same kind of life our Nambi Arurar had. So while reading what are the benefits of reading our 7th Thirumurai? Obviously, the only benefit is to get rid of the karma. Apart from that, any kind of physical ailments, it can be skin related, it can be blood related, it can be eyes related, it can be rashes, whatever it is. Any kind of physical ailment, you have a padigam for that. Money, wealth, riches, luxury. Even he was asking for scent, the perfumes that we have. He's asking for perfumes. He's asking for cooling glasses. So you can imagine what kind of a lifestyle he led. And obviously he was asking Lord Shiva for that. Food, dresses, spiritual progress. That we don't have to say, because obviously when Shiva is there, spiritual progress will be there. And also to be saved from Yama, the fear of Yama, right? So that is one of the best padigam that you can see. This worldly riches as well as afterlife, good proceedings after this life, as in, they call it as birth to death and death to birth, right? So this particular cycle, the vicious cycle, can be broken in a very easy manner with his padigam. Just one sample padigam from his Thirumurai. பொன்னும் மெய் பொருளும் தருவானை போகமும் திருவும் புணர்ப்பானை பின்னை என் பிழையை பொறுப்பானை பிழையெல்லாம் தவித்து பணிப்பானை இன்ன தன்மயன் என்றறியொண்ணா எம்மானை எழி வந்த பிரானை அன்னம் வைகும் வயல் பாழனத்தணி ஆரூரானை மறக்கலுமாமே. This particular song, just this 4 lines of song, tells us or gives us an idea that whatever you want, ask, whether you want now in this birth or after birth, it will be sanctioned to you. Now coming to the 8th Thirumurai. The 8th Thirumurai is written by Manikavasagar. His period or his history is not well defined. Unfortunately, we don't have much of a documentation for that. Some claim that he belongs to 2nd century, some claim that he belongs to the 12th century, but most probably it must be the 12th century, looking at all the historical events and all these. That's what majority of them believe, but anyways, only Lord Shiva knows it. The beauty of his particular Thirumurai is the Thirumurai was handwritten by Lord Shiva himself. The author was dictating. Imagine, Manika Vasagar is dictating. Lord Shiva is the scribe over there. Lovely assistant, isn't it? Every project manager would love to have that kind of a scribe. Yes, Manika Vasagar had that kind of a scribe. He made a dumb girl to sing. That was one of his very big achievements. A deaf and dumb person, a girl, and he made the girl to sing. So that particular Padigam is even today well known for when we are having stammering problem, or even when they are a bit slow to talk, or they don't have the confidence to talk as well. We can read that Padigam. And he was the only one who had documented the universe as well as the growth of the universe, including the black hole, which is proven to be getting pretty accurate with the latest data that we are getting right now. But he was the one who documented the universe and the way how it is growing per second or per nanosecond. And some more, he was a Pandya king's chief minister, not a simple position, you know. Now, talking about the 4 saints, because when you talk about Thirumurai, when you talk about the path of spirituality, when we talk about the moment we talk about Thevaram, Tiruvasagam, the 4 saints play a very, very important role. Let me ask a question to you guys. When do you think it's a good time to pray or follow the path of spirituality? Anyone has an answer for that?
Anytime is a good time.
Lovely. Wow. Right. Because you're already in the path, so you're able to answer that. But if you look at it, right, certain people will say, hey, why should I think about Lord Shiva now itself? I'll go back to the temples when I get old, probably after my retirement, when I don't have anything. At that point in time, I'll take my spouse and then I'll just go to the temples and visit all the temples. Lord Shiva sent Thiruñana Sambandar to prove this concept wrong. Yeah. Thiruñana Sambandar got in this path at the age of 3 years. When he was 3 years old. That is the beauty. Now we have another excuse, because we are very good in coming up with excuses, isn't it? I mean, any point in time when we want to just play around something, we will always come up with excuse. Now we have the next excuse. We say, you know what? Thiruñana Sambandar started at 3 years itself. I'm already 40 years now. I'm already 45 years now, 50 years now. I'm too old for it. I don't think I'm not even able to sit in a position continuously for 30 minutes. How am I going to sit and do my prayers and all these? In order to prove this wrong, Thirunavukarasar came in. When he came into this path, he was 52 years old. He was in this path until his age of 80 plus. So age is not a constraint. Now the next excuse we will all have, you know what? These two people are not married. Thiruñana Sambandar or Thirunavukarasar are not married. You first try to get a spouse, then you will know what kind of a torture we are going through at home. Hope my husband doesn't hear this, yeah? So you see what kind of a torture we are going through at home. Those guys are in the bachelorhood, so all they could pursue this path. For me, I'm not able to. You look at my family. Nambi Arurar was sent, not just with one wife, with 2 wives.
2 wives.
2 wives to say, guys, please, don't give me your excuses, yeah? We do have a person with 2 wives, and yet he is able to pursue this path. Now, you know what? We will have another beautiful excuse. You know what? I'm working in IT, 24/7 support. Anytime they call, I have to be alert, you know. You work in IT, you will know what are the challenges we are facing. No Saturday, no Sunday, no work-life balance. Our work is our life is totally gone. This is how we are all working. Now we can claim that this is an excuse. And Manika Vasagar came in, who was a chief minister. Imagine a chief minister of a great kingdom. Is an IT support person more busier than a chief minister? I don't think so. So this is basically to just throw away all our excuses, saying, please don't give excuses. If you want to get into the path of Saivism, if you want to start your prayers, do it now, do it right away, just now. So no more excuses. And one more important point that is very important for us to understand is, I'll just close with this. Yeah, I don't think we'll have time for this. I'll just close with the last section of this. One most important one is, if you look at the four saints, they took different paths. Thirunavukarasar, he took the path called Sariye, which is 25% of mind and 75% physical. So he did a lot of physical work for the temples, cleaning temples and all these. He saw Lord Shiva as his boss, and he saw himself as a slave. This is one way of looking at Lord Shiva. Second one is Tirunjana Sambandar. He came in, he chose the path called Kriya, 50% mind, 50% physical. He saw Lord Shiva as father, dad and a kid relationship. Now, our Nambi Arurar came in. 25% physical, 75% was mental, right? His entire mind was 100%, 75%, 75% was almost his mind was towards that. He chose the path called yoga. Yoga means, you know, right? Syncing up. So he was choosing that particular path, and he saw God as friend. And the fourth one, Manikavasagar, who chose the path of jnana, 100% mind. He saw Lord Shiva as guru and himself as a disciple. Now we may get a confusion. So should I see him? What should I see Lord Shiva as? Four people have lived all the four types. Now there's a buffet again for you guys. You can choose whichever is comfortable. If I want to see him like a dad, yes, I can. If I want to see him as a guru who's going to guide me in this path, yes, I can. No, I need my friend. I'm in my teens. I need my friends. I just have all my hip times and hop times and all these. Might as well have your Shiva as your drinking partner. No, nothing wrong in that. He will be the best guide, trust me. That's the best approach that we are talking about over here as well. Now, due to the time constraint, I'm just skipping 9th and all the way until the 12th Thirumurai. 12th Thirumurai is the most important one also, because it talks about the way of life. How a human being must live, whether you're a Saivite or not, it doesn't matter. As a human being, what kind of a lifestyle we need to adopt. That is what is taught in the 12th. Beautiful verse as well. We will, if God permits, we will discuss about that in one another occasion. Yeah. So I'll close my discourse with this overview on a little bit like an overview on Saiva Thirumurai. As I said earlier, this is an ocean. So we just started. I just tried to give a drop of it, I have to say. So please explore further. It's an ocean of wealth, not to be missed wealth. It is given to us. Whatever needs you have, you can get it fulfilled with the help of Thirumurai. That is the beauty of it. Saivattin mel samayam veru illai, adu saar deivattin mel devam illenum, naan marai semborul vaimai vaitha சீர்திரு தேவாரமும் திருவாசகமும் உய்வைத்தரச் செய்த நால்வர் போற்றாழியம் உயிர் துணையே. திருச்சிற்றம்பலம்.
Thank you so much, Lavanya-ji. I'm thirsty for more. Can we have a follow-up session possibly, even as early as next week? We were going to do another session on Shaivitism, Chamanlal Raina, but instead, because I think if we do it as a sequel, people will get more because we can get a little bit deeper. I don't know what your availability is, but let me know if that's at all a possibility.
It works, just that the timing is a little bit, because it's almost 12 plus for me now.
I know. Participants who are in here, are you available if we started it at half hour sooner? Would that be possible for you? Just speak up, unmute yourself and speak up if we can do that. And then next week we can have a follow-up to this.
For Saivism, anytime is a good time.
Okay, Raj Babu, thank you. Anybody else? Can I just change the session to a half hour, an hour earlier?
Sure, yeah, 9 o'clock, 9 a.m. is okay for us.
Okay. So we'll do it at 9 a.m. next week. You choose the topic, you send it back to me. So next week we'll do it at 9. I'll send a note out to everybody. And let's save our questions for next time. And maybe you can also send us some few of these recordings that we have, some YouTube. And then for the people who are participating, we can send that out to them so that they can listen on YouTube to some of these items, Lavanya-ji.
I'll do that because
And-
all the verses that we have been discussing about, I'm trying to do something like a project to bring it in English. So all the verses that is, trying to explain in English, I'm not sure how much I'm able to succeed in that. Maybe I can send you those links also.
That'll be fabulous. It really was a mesmerizing session, totally in awe of you and what you've learned and how you've inspired us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Any
Thank
questions
you, everybody,
you have,
for
you can
joining.
always message me also. No worries on that. I'm always available for Saiva.
Thank you so much. Thank you,
so
everybody, for joining, and have a great weekend and a good night to you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks, Shefali.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
See you.